Are you tired of setting goals that never seem to materialize? What if I told you there's a proven way to rewire your mind for success? And it only takes a few minutes a day. So stick with me because today's episode is about to change everything. We're going live.
We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
What's going on, everybody? I am Paul Bauer. And if you're new to the channel, I help men level up and get better with women. And I have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So, welcome to the last official Woo Woo Wednesday episode. It sucks. It sucks too, because it's probably my favorite content of the week. But don't worry, the woo woo isn't completely going away. We'll still sprinkle a little woo woo on Frame Fridays, because you see, the law of attraction is really just NLP disguised as mysticism. And a lot of the techniques that will help you to have a positive frame are literally the same techniques you would use to manifest your dreams into reality. In fact, if you read this book, Power Frame Identity by Rafe Diantor, which we've been going over on Frame Fridays, that's like the same techniques that he lays out in his book are the same techniques you'll find in, Think and Grow Rich, The Secret, all that kind of stuff. We're basically doing the same thing, right? We're reprogramming our subconscious to be in alignment with our new reality, whether it's being a stoic alpha that has positive emotional control, or you're trying to attract wealth and abundance because you've convinced yourself to be an entrepreneur, right? It's literally the same thing. So that's what we're talking about today. Why the scripting methods I talked about last week on Woo Woo Wednesday, why they work from an NLP perspective. What is NLP for those of you that have never heard it? It's short for neuro-linguistic programming. It's a set of techniques and principles aimed at improving communication, self-awareness, and personal development by focusing on how people process information through their language and neurological patterns. Okay. Basically, it's a praxeology, right? What's a praxeology? Well, people look at what works. They try to model it, right? They see if they can replicate it. They take what works and they leave what doesn't, right? Red pill is a praxeology. Okay. So it was originally created by a guy named Richard Bandler and John Grinder. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Bandler was a computer programmer, right? And then John Grinder was a linguist, right? And so what Bandler realized was that, hey, we can look at what, psychologists are doing, what people are doing with psychotherapy, what they're doing with hypnotherapy, and let's see if we can copy it, right? Like, we don't need to know how it works. We just know that it works, and let's see if we can copy it, right? That's where the concept of modeling comes from. Let's model what they're doing and see if we can replicate it. We don't have to know why it works, right? So they started doing that sort of thing. This was like back in the 60s. But the funny thing is that a lot of techniques that are used in modern NLP today go back thousands of years. They go back thousands of years. So this book right here, this is a phenomenal book. If you want to learn NLP, this one, Excellence in NLP and Life Coaching by Dr. Richard Nongard. He talks about ancient NLP, and he says, a good example of this goes back to the 9 hand seals, or in Chinese language, right? Or in Chinese martial arts, right? So there's these different hand signals. If you've ever seen, God, what movie was it? If you've ever seen the movie Enter the Ninja, right? You see the ninjas doing these hand signals. They're all like, ugh, and right. And you see that in like American Ninja. There was a book that was put out in like the 80s or something like that. It was like Secrets of the Ninja. Man, it sold like millions of copies. And the guy was teaching the 9 different hand signals of the ninja. Turns out that book was a complete fraud, but they used to do that kind of stuff. And what they're basically doing is anchoring. It's the NLP technique of anchoring, right? So the different hand signals supposed to represent a different feeling. And in order to evoke a specific feeling, right? A feeling of, let's say, bravery or feeling of strength, right? You will use this hand signal, right? This hand signal is supposed to represent that. So you sort of get into that feeling. That's NLP anchoring, basically. So he talks about all that kind of stuff in that book. It's a fascinating book. So why does this all matter? Well, when you understand why these techniques work, you'll know how to get the most out of them, right? And make them work faster for you. So you could go back to last week's episode. Okay. After you watch today's episode and understand why it works, you can go back to last week's episode and start practicing the scripting exercises that we talked about. We're going to touch on some of those scripting exercises again today. But yeah, it's fascinating because if you look at what the Chinese were doing, right? They were doing these different hand signals. Oh, I have like Outlook and Teams open. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's close all this stuff down before I start getting a bunch of notifications from offshore team members and stuff. Okay. So yeah, but if it's fascinating because if you look at it like, oh, what are the martial artists trying to do? They're trying to get their chi, right? They're trying to get their energy flowing, and they're trying to, it almost seems very mystic and magical, but it's like, no, it's mental. It's all up here. It's all up here. That's what the concept of anchoring is, right? You're associating some kind of like physical feeling, right? Like the hand gesture with an emotion. And as soon as you do the hand gesture, your mind naturally sort of goes to that. It's like a trigger, right? It's like Pavlov's dog. All right. Before we get too far into this, and I bore you to tears, hit like, subscribe, and the notification thing. So you know when I go live. I do go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, though. And my views have been abysmal. So it's like, and I looked at my analytics and it'll like hundreds of people will get the notification and then only like 2% show up. So it's like, okay, maybe the notifications don't matter, or maybe people just don't give a crap. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. I got to figure this out. But if you guys are watching live right now, sound off in the comments. I like hearing from you guys. Consider sending a super chat. That helps support the show probably more than anything else. I'm not going to show the Melanie Mac thing. You guys already know. But if you guys send a $10 super chat or a $20 super chat, there's a special video I play for you. And it gets me demonetized every time. So at least it makes it worth my while when you guys do that. All right. So the first concept that we're going to go over here is just general NLP principles and scripting exercises. Okay. So one of the things that we're doing is we're reprogramming our subconscious mind, right? I talk about that a lot. So most of our behaviors, our beliefs, they come from the subconscious, right? They come from our paradigm. It's just a series of habits that we've accumulated over time, starting with childhood, and we act on it without any sort of conscious thought, right? Well, the act of scripting that we talked about last week, the act of scripting rewires those beliefs by repeating positive messages and ideas, right? You keep doing it over and over again. That positive repetition, or that constant repetition, seeps into your subconscious mind, starts reprogramming things. And then if you start imagining, and that's really what's cool about the scripting exercises, is that as you're writing this stuff out, you're sort of imagining this stuff that causes a sort of a twofold exercise where you're writing it out and you're mentally visualizing it, and you're getting yourself into the emotion, like you're actually feeling what it's like being in that state. All that gets reinforced in your subconscious mind for reprogramming it, right? So think of it like you're planting seeds, you're planting seeds, right? You can't grow a garden without planting the right seeds. And think about it too, like think of your mind like a big field, and you can plant any kind of seed you want. Well, the type of seed that you plant is going to determine the type of plant that grows. So you can plant positive seeds and get positive plants like flowers or vegetables or fruits. I don't know. Or you could plant like thistle seeds, right? Negative. Let's say, look at it like a negative thought. You could plant negative thoughts in your mind, and then you'll just get thistles and thorns and prickly plants that hurt you when you go walking through the field. That's one of the things. It's one of the things that I was talking with one of my coaching clients last week about was he's trying to do these affirmations. He's trying to do like journaling and scripting and stuff like that to try to reprogram his mind to have more success. But then he completely undoes all that stuff by going on YouTube and watching home math videos, right? Which are just all negative stuff, talking about how women are garbage and like the dating circuit's not worth the effort, and like the only like women are only going for the top 5% of men, and like all these women are trash and all this kind of stuff. It's like all that negative stuff is planting the thistle seeds instead of the fruit seeds. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's literally the same activity, but in reverse, in negative. You're just attracting more negative stuff when you focus on that kind of negativity. So you got to get rid of all the negativity, and then you just got to focus on the positive stuff when you're doing these types of exercises, right? You're planting seeds. We're also trying to align our belief system and be more congruent, right? We're trying to be more congruent with our desired reality. Okay. So when your thoughts, words, and actions align, you're basically unstoppable. And one of the things that we try to teach in the red pill space is to be congruent. That's one of the reasons why women test men. Women test men to see if you're congruent, if your words match your actions or not. Yeah. So if your actions aren't matching your words, you're not in alignment. Okay. So that's why this stuff is helpful in working on your mental frame, is because it helps bring everything into alignment. It makes you more congruent. Your words start matching your actions. You understand? So scripting creates that alignment by embedding empowering beliefs. Okay. One thing that's, so my coaches, for you guys that are new, I'm a coach, but I also have a coach. I have 3 coaches actually. And one of the things that Coach Mark was talking about in a previous recording, a previous training recording that they did earlier this year. I think it was back this summer, but it was on the process of doing breakthrough calls and how to have a successful breakthrough call with somebody. And one of the things that Mark was talking about was, he goes, I like to get my vibration, and I like to get myself in a state where I'm in alignment. I'm in alignment with being able to, what do they call it? Basically, it basically enroll you into your dream life, right? So that's what he's trying to get into alignment. He goes, now, when you go on the call, the person you're talking to, they're in alignment with, we're not sure if this guy can help me or not, right? So he goes, whoever is in most alignment is going to sort of take charge of that call and get the other person to enter their frame. He's talking about frame. He's like, whoever has the strongest frame in this interaction, the other person's going to enter that other person's frame, right? That's exactly what we're talking about in the red pill space, where we're talking about frame, right? Rollo says you always have to be aware of the frame you're operating in. Like, whose frame are you operating in? Like, the idea is to always operate in your frame, but you're not always going to operate in your frame. You're going to operate in other people's frame. It just really depends on the situation and what serves you best, right? Like, if I'm going to my coaching call and it's a weekly session where I'm trying to learn something, I'm entering my coach's frame. Okay, that's not a bad thing, right? If if you get on a breakthrough call with me and you really want your problem solved, it's not a bad thing to enter my frame because I'm going to do everything in my power to serve you. You understand? But you're not going to trust me to do that if I'm not fully in alignment with what I'm talking about. You understand? That's why it's important. Like, this is why it all applies to red pill. And yes, it seems woo-woo, but it's not. We're talking about frame. So we want to align the belief systems with our actions, become congruent, right? So if you want an example here is if you want financial success, scripting helps eliminate thoughts like, I can't do this, right? Or I don't make enough money or whatever, right? And it replaces them with, I'm already successful. I'm already doing it. It's in the present tense, right? State management. Again, like I was talking about frame and state and being in the right state. That's what my coach was talking about. Well, the emotional state that you're in influences every decision you make. Every decision you make. So scripting puts you in a confident, grateful, and motivated state so that you make better decisions. If you're confident, you're going to trust your judgment better. You're going to make better decisions. Yeah. I think most of you guys that are indecisive and you guys find yourself with analysis paralysis and it takes you 5 days to make a decision on something. And even then you're not sure if the decision is the right one. And so you second guess yourself all the time. That's because you're not confident. You're not confident in your ability to make a good decision. For whatever reason, you don't trust your decision-making abilities. So you second guess yourself and you're indecisive. Well, on the other, other people looking in, they look at indecisive people like they're weak. Look at the most successful people in the world make decisions very quickly. Napoleon Hill talks about that in Think and Grow Rich, right? So if you can get yourself in the right state of being confident, grateful, motivated, you make good decisions, you'll make better decisions, right? So think about how you feel when you're grateful. It's impossible. It's impossible to be negative and grateful at the same time. It's impossible. That's one of the reasons why at Beer Club, I recommend guys practice gratitude, right? Do the gratitude practice, be in the gratitude subgroup and practice that, especially if you're having a terrible day. If you stop and you start focusing on what you're grateful for, it'll snap you out of that negative state because your mind can't be grateful and negative at the same time. It just can't do it. It can't do it. Then we have neuroplasticity. If you want to know more about that, tune into Paul Benjamin's Apex Mindset channel. Dude, he talks about that kind of stuff all the time. But our brains are wired to adapt. Our brains are wired for change. Man, there's 23 people watching, and there's only Nurse Chick commenting and Brother David. Nurse Chick says, "Good morning, chat. Happy hump day." I'm going to give her this one.
I'm so naughty.
Is. And then David says, "I'm here. Let's roll." And he goes, "Oh, that's a good analogy." Okay, good. Glad you like it. Man, y'all are quiet today, and it's frustrating me. I don't know. I don't know what's up with this algorithm, this YouTube algorithm. It's a goddamn mystery. Anyway, we're talking about neuroplasticity. So our brains are wired to adapt. Our brains are wired for change. When you constantly practice scripting, you're literally creating new pathways in your brain that support the new goal. You can think of it like a path through the woods. If you guys are hunters, if you've ever been out hunting or you go out hiking all the time, you'll see game trails through the forest, right? These are paths that the deer and other animals like to take through the woods, and they just follow the same path all the time. So it actually creates a natural trail through the woods. Well, your brain weighs the same way. If you're constantly going down certain beliefs, certain thoughts, certain patterns of thinking, you're creating these neural pathways. They're basically like game trails through the forest in your brain. Well, if you want to rewire that, the scripting, affirmations, all that kind of stuff, that repetition starts creating a new path. It starts creating a new way of thinking, a new belief system through your brain. And the more you use it, the more that path or that easier that path becomes, and the more you'll be in the habit of going down that path. Now, one thing I learned from Wraith is that you'll never get rid of old neural pathways. Like the old neural pathways are still there. That's why it's so easy. If you don't stay on top of this stuff, you don't keep working on yourself, it's so easy to fall back on old habits and old patterns, because those old pathways are still there. They're still easily accessible. They're still easy. It's still an easy path through the forest. So if you don't keep working on the new path, the new destination, the new life you want to live, right? The work never stops. If you stop working on that stuff, you're going to fall back on the old habits and stuff like that. So if you really want to develop a new life and get and achieve new goals and have new outcomes, new better outcomes, and you start working on this stuff, you got to make it a daily habit. Like this needs to be something that you do now forever, right? And you'll just keep working on those newer positive neural pathways. The longer you do it, the less likely you're going to fall back on old patterns, but those neural pathways never go away. They never go away. So if you never want to fall back on old patterns, you got to keep working towards the new stuff. You understand? All right. Talking about why this stuff works, why it all works, guys. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I'm on all the good platforms. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. Get the free ebook, She's Made You Weak. It explains the betatization process. And, if the attraction's been eroding in your relationship, this is like the number one reason why, right? Your girl will start doing these things to you. And if you don't know that she's doing it, you're going to try to keep the peace. You're going to try to make her happy. You're going to start walking on eggshells. It's just going to keep emasculating you over time, until you basically start acting like a woman, and then you're acting so weak that she's just can't be attracted to you anymore. She's like, you disgust her now because of how weak you've become. But she did that to you, right? Like women do that because they're trying to take a guy who's like, really sexually attractive and try to make him more caring and nurturing, kind of like Beauty and the Beast, right? But she's attracted to the beast. Like she can't get her way with him. She can't tame him. She likes that, right? Oh, gives her the vajingles. But now she's made you the beta pussy prince. And she's like, I liked you better when you were hairy. Anyway, if you want to defend against the dark arts, get the ebook. I'll also send you some free stickers. I got stickers like this one here. I'll mail those to you, but if you don't want them, just put don't want stickers in the address field. That's cool. I don't give me a fake address. I don't want to waste a stamp on you and get it sent back. And then, guys, it is Woo Woo Wednesday. I do have a practical law of attraction course. If you go to loa.comeonmanpod.com, I take all the chick crack out of it. I take all the spirituality out of it. I take all the quantum science out of it, and I break it down into simple psychological terms that you can start using today to start achieving the goals you want in life. Let me play a commercial for that, and then we'll get back to the topic. Are you struggling to find a good quality woman? They are very rare indeed these days. If you spend any time at all watching content in the men's podcast space, or you spend time on dating apps or going out to clubs, you're seeing low quality, promiscuous women. You're finding women with daddy issues and personality disorders, or a myriad of other red flags, and you are frustrated. I get it, brother, but what if I were to tell you that the reason why you're only seeing these types of women is because of your mindset, because of your paradigm? We get what we focus on in life, and you have trained your mind to focus on the type of women that you don't want. So those are the types of women that keep showing up for you again and again. Let's change that mindset today. If you're a guy looking to attract high-quality, submissive women into your life, then I've got the perfect solution for you. And let me tell you, brother, it's all about mindset. That's right, you've got to reprogram your thinking to focus on the type of women you do want. That's where my Practical Law of Attraction course comes in. It's packed with proven psychology-based techniques that will help you manifest your dream woman. Trust me, You won't find this stuff anywhere else. Explained in such a simple, easy to use way. And let me tell you, when you start using these methods, you'll be amazed at how quickly things start changing for you. Picture this, you're out on the town, feeling confident and magnetic. All the women are drawn to you like moth to a flame. And best of all, you're attracting the type of women that are submissive and high quality. It's not that they weren't there before, it's that you weren't aware of them before. My course will teach you how to be more hyper aware of the kind of women that you actually want. It will teach you to believe that you're the most attractive man around. And when you believe it, you'll carry yourself that way. So what are you waiting for? Sign up for my course today. Visit loa.comeonmanpod.com. That's loa.comeonmanpod.com. Start living the life you've always dreamed of. Don't miss out on this opportunity to up your game and find the woman of your dreams. The law of attraction is nothing without action. So what are you waiting for? Act now. Act now, guys. So what we're going to talk about now we're going to go over the scripting exercises that we talked about last week, but I'm not going to tell you necessarily how to do them, but I am going to tell you the NLP principles that are being used behind these, right? So one of the things that we talked about last week was story scripting, right? And this was essentially, you basically just write out your life as a story, like the life that you want, right? Let's say your dream life where you're limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, woo, right? But you're already doing it as if you're already doing it. Let's say you're working at McDonald's now, but you want to be Ric Flair. So you write out a story as if you're already Ric Flair. Like, what's that feel like? What's it like, riding on private jets and banging lots of stewardesses, right? So the NLP principle at play here, one of them is future pacing. Okay. And future pacing is a visualization technique where you basically visualize a future outcome as if you're already there, and you try to make it as real as possible. Okay. And then you sort of work backwards and try to have your subconscious mind fill that gap. Like, how do I get there? But once you visualize something, your subconscious can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And so once your subconscious believes it's real because it's visualized it and you've made it so vivid, it has to make it a reality. It wants to close that gap of where your current state is and that future state. It wants to figure out how to make that true. Okay. So, and then another thing is state anchoring. So we already talked about state anchoring a little bit at the beginning. We talked about the 9 Chinese hand symbols, right? But that's anchoring is where you sort of you're thinking of a specific state, right? And so a lot of what we're trying to do is anchor the state of gratitude, being grateful for something, really trying to get at that emotional buy-in for whatever it is that we want to get, right? So when you imagine your ideal future and write it as though it's already happening, your mind starts treating it as normal and achievable. Okay. If you, most of the time, the reason why you're not achieving your goals is because at a subconscious level, you don't believe that you can achieve those goals. That's really all it comes down to. One of the things that my coaches are having me do, because I'll tell you what, if you've never done anything entrepreneurial, right? You probably, tell yourself, oh, I don't want to do that because I like the security of having a 9-to-5 job. Like, I like knowing that paycheck's coming every month, right? Well, that was that's one of my self-limiting beliefs is, oh man, if I quit my day job and I pursue this full time, there might be months where I don't make any money, right? There might be months where I can't sign any new or enroll any new clients. And that scares the hell out of me because it's not going to be consistent. And then my coach goes, well, think about it this way. He goes, is that true though? He's like, let's look at this. He's like, is it true that your day job is secure? He's like, they can fire you anytime they want. There's no such thing as job security. Like, they can fire you anytime you want. So are you really secure because you have a 9-to-5 job? No. So how is it any more secure than, working on your own and acquiring your own clients kind of thing? And he goes, and why wouldn't you be able to assign, a certain amount of clients every month? He's like, there's an overwhelming abundant supply of guys that need help. He's like, you could help 10,000 guys a year and there still would be guys that need help. He's like, there's a never ending supply. So why wouldn't you be able to do this? He goes, I know guys that do 3 times that, that kind of thing. So he's like, no, like it's all this negative self-talk and you just don't believe you could do it. So you keep yourself from doing it. You understand? So it's like, these are some of the things that I have to rewire. You understand? So, so an example exercise of story scripting is just write out a journal entry about your life 1 year from now. And then start it with, I'm so grateful that, or I'm so grateful now that, because that now you really want to anchor that emotion behind it. And once you anchor that emotion along with the repetition, that's really how you start reprogramming that subconscious. Spoken scripting, we talked about that last week. So that is basically the same thing. You're just saying it out loud instead of writing it down. But the NLP principle at play here is auditory anchoring. So you're speaking it. So you're not only like vocalizing it, but you're also hearing it. You understand? And it's also positive suggestion. That's what we're doing too. So hearing yourself say positive, confident statements builds belief and reinforces new neural pathways. Okay. An example exercise. Say, I want you guys to try this right now. Try it with me. Okay. Say, I am confident and capable of achieving my goals 3 times out loud. I am confident and capable of achieving my goals. I am confident and capable of achieving my goals. Okay. Can you feel the difference in your energy when you do that? You can feel it, right? It was funny when like we talk about energy and all that kind of stuff. Like Rollo always shits on it. He's like, what do you mean energy? What do you mean masculine energy, feminine energy? Like, what does that mean? What kind of energy are you putting out there? It's shit that you could feel. Like you could feel it. Okay. Now you might argue, oh, that's not energy. Those are neurochemicals and whatever. Stop being a nerd. Okay. Oh man. Oh, look at that. Brother Ed sent a $5 super chat. See, here I was thinking that I was going to be able to get through an episode without getting demonetized by you guys monetizing me. But nope. Y'all want to see the boobs. And Ed's a beer club brother. And so he gets automatically bumped up to the next level. So here you go, Ed.
Thank you for the super chats. Boobies bouncing, can't stop that. From the east to the west, you are the best. Keep those chats coming in, let's do it all again.
John says, if current no nice post for you nurse chick, you're naughty. You're naughty is your audio clip. I think she is replying to the audio clip with that one. All right. So statement scripting, NLP principle, repetition, and linguistic framing. So writing statements in the present tense, like I am successful, eliminates subconscious resistance and builds certainty. It's also, when you're using I am statements, you're framing it like it's your identity too, right? You're making it a statement of your identity. An example is, instead of I want to be wealthy, okay, I want to be wealthy, you write, I have a thriving business that supports my lifestyle. Okay, that's in the present tense. Makes you start believing it, right? You start believing you already have it. But if you say like, I want, or in the future, or someday I will be, you're basically training your subconscious mind that you don't have it. You don't have it yet. And tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow never comes. You only have today. So you gotta say it like you already have it. Oh, let's see here. Okay. So why it's so great scripting? That was a fun one. Why it's so great scripting. We talked about that last week too. So the NLP principle here is meta programs and reframing. What are meta programs? That's an interesting thing. Meta programs are mental filters or patterns that influence how we see the world. Okay. So think internal versus external, or toward versus away. If these certain words, you imagine certain things a certain way, right? If I say, you know, interior versus exterior, you sort of imagine like the inside of a house versus being outside, that sort of thing, right? So the why it's so great allows you to think of things from a positive perspective, like, oh, this thing that I'm talking about is awesome. You know. And then reframing, we talk about reframing a lot, but reframing is just looking at things from a different point of view. Okay, so listing the benefits of your goals shifts your focus from obstacles to possibilities. Man, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if I could just drop everything and go fly around the world on a private jet? Wouldn't that be great? Oh man, that would be so great. It'd be so great to fly around the world on a private jet and then have topless stewardesses serve me champagne. That would be great. You know? So an example of that, right? Write out 5 reasons why achieving your goal would improve your life. I'll tell you what, flying around at a drop of the hat on a private jet with topless stewardesses would improve my life immensely. Nurse chick wouldn't appreciate it, but I would. Damn it. One of the techniques we talked about last week was a letter to a friend. You write out a letter to your friend, kind of like your annual Christmas letter. You know how your friends and family sends you annual Christmas letters about, you know, what they're up to and how life is and how great their family situation is. And, you know, it's all bullshit, but, you know, they send that out. So the NLP principles for the letter to a friend are perceptual positions and narrative therapy. So perceptual positions is interesting, okay, because you're looking at things from other people's points of view. Okay, so one exercise you can do, which is it's a fun thing to do when you're having a negative emotional state, right? You have a negative thought about something. Maybe you're depressed about something. A good way of getting yourself to sort of disassociate from that is using perceptual positions. So what you could do is imagine yourself on a TV screen, like you're the situation that's got you feeling depressed and you can't stop thinking about it. You're thinking about it on a television screen. Okay. Now, and you imagine yourself in that situation. Okay. You're in this situation. You feel like crap. Right. Well, now picture yourself as another person outside of the TV watching the TV. Okay. And imagine that TV is in black and white. Right. So you're someone else now. You're looking at you're looking at yourself as another person watching this play out in black and white on an old black and white TV. Okay. Well, that imagining of you being someone else, and then also imagining the TV being black and white lessens that depressing thought, that depressing thing that you're so worked up about. Now, imagine yourself as another person on the other side of the room, looking at the person who's watching the TV, who's watching you on TV, right? Now you're a third party observing both, right? You can see the TV, you can also see this other person. So you're further disassociating from the emotion itself, right? That's the concept of perceptual positions. It's fascinating. And then we have narrative therapy, which is a form of psychotherapy that focuses on helping individuals reshape their personal narratives or the stories that they tell themselves and their lives. Like a lot of us have certain stories that we tell about ourselves. And these come from our deep psychological beliefs about ourselves and our capabilities and all this stuff. Well, if you change your narrative, you actually can change your outcome. Okay. So describing your success as though you're sharing it with a friend, that's where we go back to a letter as a friend. You're writing out your life as if you've already achieved all these successful things. Well, you're basically writing it from a perspective that you're telling your friend about how great your life is. Okay. And then you're changing the story that you tell about yourself when you do that. And it makes it feel real and achievable when you do that. Okay. So an example, you say, dear so-and-so, you won't believe it. I just got my dream job. It's everything I hoped for. I'm making, $200,000 a year, and I'm doing this, and I'm helping so many people, blah, 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 whatever. Right. The thank you letter to the universe is very similar to letter to a friend. Okay. We talked about this last week. The another NLP principle here is gratitude anchoring and presupposition. So we talked about anchoring and gratitude and that kind of stuff before, but presupposition is where you assume something, right? You presuppose something is true. So when you thank the universe, you're focusing on abundance instead of lack, which really shifts your mindset for the positive. Okay. So for example, you write, thank you for bringing money into my life. Thank you for bringing, women into my life. Thank you for bringing, whatever you want, health into my life and whatever. I'm so grateful for how it's changing everything. And so you're really trying to anchor that. If you're a religious person, this is a good way. You can write this out to God. You're basically praying. This is why prayer works. Okay. If you want to take religion out of it, this is why prayer works. You're basically doing this type of stuff. It's all neuro-linguistic programming. Future pacing events. The NLP principle is visualization with timeline therapy and future pacing. Future pacing is its own thing. But timeline therapy, this is interesting. So timeline therapy focuses on helping individuals identify, explore, and reframe their subconscious perceptions of past experiences and future expectations. So if I asked you to close your eyes and imagine this timeline, like your personal timeline, imagine a timeline, and I ask you to reach out and touch a place in the past. So close your eyes and imagine your life's timeline. Like we all have our own visualized representation of time. Okay. And I say, reach out and touch where you were on 9/11 on the timeline. Like, for me, the past is to my left. You understand? So that's why when I'm reaching out to my left, because in my mind, the past is to my left, the future is to my right. So you might look at it differently. Okay. Everyone looks at it differently. Some people might reach up for future and down for past, right? There's people look at things differently in their own minds, but each person has their own visualized representation of time. So you probably have a mental picture in your head of a timeline that represents your past and future. So if I imagine my time, okay, if I imagine my timeline, it's weird. It's sort of a weird zigzag pattern, snaking pattern for me. Right? Where like the 70s and 80s are sort of this, for me, it's like it's coming towards me this way, right? 70s, 80s, they're all in the same timeline. Then the 90s is a shift going this way. Okay. Then the 2000s are going this way again. Right? So it's almost like a sort of snaking pattern. And I never, like, to me, it's sort of like it's going to start doing this again. So it's always the zigzagging pattern for me. So now we're on this pattern. This is the 2000s. We're going this way now. I'm weird, man. I don't know. I'm a weird duck. I don't know. How do you guys imagine your timeline? Anyway. And then describing future events helps your subconscious create a mental timeline to see that goal as achievable, right? And again, as long as you believe it's achievable, you're more likely to achieve it, okay? So you want to describe your perfect day after achieving your goal, right? So let's say you've already achieved the goal. What's the next day look like? Like, what are you doing that day? Okay. So that's a good way of imagining or of visualizing goals and stuff like that. Like, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Right? We've talked about this in the past, but if you use all your sensory perceptions to imagine this thing, it makes it more real. And then we have detail-oriented visualization and scripting. So the NLP principles here are sensory, submodalities, and anchoring. So using all your senses makes your vision vivid and compelling, so your brain accepts it as real. Okay, so describe your dream house in detail. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? Is it cold in there? What sounds do you hear? Do you hear, like, when you walk on the floor, are the floors creaking? Do you just hear the clopping because maybe you're wearing boots or something? You know, you got to think about all that kind of stuff. It makes it more real when you use all those senses. Guys, get a beer club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's a good group of dudes. It's a place where men can be men. Guys could talk about whatever's on their mind. You know, get together. We have monthly hangouts. You don't have to drink beer if you're in the beer club. Okay. But it's just a place for guys to connect with other men, you know, chop it up a little bit. And men need that. We need that sort of connection to hang out with other dudes, because most guys don't have an outlet where they can just talk about whatever, you know, problem solve. You know, maybe their wife's acting like a bitch and they just need to get away for a while. Even if it's mentally, it's a good escape, right? A healthy escape, instead of like drinking alcohol or whatever, running away from your problems that way. You go to the beer club, chat with the boys. Okay. And then we're holding each other accountable in there. There's guys that are buddying up and doing their fitness and making sure that they're getting their fitness done on a daily basis. We have a gratitude practice group where it's just guys in there talk about what they're grateful for. That really helps your mental state, good for your mental health. And then, you know, that's really where the real value is. It's just connecting with other like-minded guys in the Telegram community. And we've got a couple of guys in there that have really made significant improvements on their physical health. 2 guys have basically cured themselves of type 2 diabetes. It's phenomenal, right? It's only $10 a month. Okay. And then if you guys are having relationship problems right now, your dead bedroom situation, your wife has no respect for you anymore, and you want to turn that dynamic around, book a free call with me by going to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. Okay. So why are these techniques effective? So NLP's core idea, right? So the mind works best when it's focused and aligned, right? We were talking about it earlier in the beginning, when you can align your subconscious with your actions and you're being congruent, you're going to get better results out of life. Okay. That it's all frame. It's mental. We're talking about mental frame here. We're not really talking about woo-woo. So these techniques help you focus on your goals and align your beliefs, emotions, and actions. Okay. And really our actions are created by our thoughts. Our thoughts create our actions create reactions. Those reactions create our results in life. So if you want better results, you have to change how you're thinking about things. So instead of worrying about what might go wrong, you know, in life, scripting keeps you focused on what's going right. Okay. Or the possibilities of things going right. Because if you want to look at it from a woo-woo quantum science perspective, basically your future hasn't been created yet. And whatever you focus on will create that future. And all possible realities exist at once. All possible realities exist at once. So whatever you believe is going to be your reality is what the timeline that you're going to, that quantum science is going to take you down. Okay. It's fascinating. Fascinating. I'm telling you. And then we have a synergy with achieving goals. So these techniques work because they direct your energy and attention towards positive outcomes, replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Those limiting beliefs are the biggest things that are holding everybody back. If you ever, especially if you're out in the dating circuit, if you ever read Dating Essentials for Men, the whole first half of the book is about getting over your self-limiting beliefs when it comes to women. You know, it's a phenomenal book. It's not mysticism. It's not really woo-woo. It's just that your own thoughts are keeping you stuck where you're at. If you're not achieving the goals you want with whatever it is, women, money, health, it's because your mindset about it. Right? You're like, well, I want that, but I just can't seem to take actions to do it. Well, it's because you're subconsciously not in alignment with what you want your outcome to be. Right? That's why you're stuck. Okay. So we had synergy with achieving goals. So this type of stuff, it's not just about positive thinking, right? It's not just about wishful thinking and positive thinking. It's about helping you build the mental habits that are necessary for success. Successful people have a certain mindset. Like they have a can-do attitude. They believe they can do something, so they do it. You understand? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to program that belief into you. All right. So practical tips for maximizing results. So consistency is key. Okay. You've got to make this a new habit. You got to make doing this type of stuff, whatever it is. You can do scripting, you can do affirmations, whatever it is that you prefer doing. Just make sure that you're consistent about it. So the scripting stuff, my coach Nikki, he had me start doing the scripting stuff like a month ago, and so now it's a part of my daily habit. I get up in the morning, it's like the first thing I do. I get up, have some coffee, and I sit down and I start doing my scripting exercises. So consistency is key. I do it every day. So it's like going to the gym, right? The more consistently you practice, the stronger your mindset becomes. So set aside 10 minutes a day for scripting, right? Set a timer and just do it for 10 minutes. Now, what I found in my personal journal, the journal I went and bought, 10 minutes is the length of a full page. So I don't have to set a timer anymore. I just sit down and do a whole page, And what I'll do now is I actually spend about 20 minutes, because what I'll do is I'll spend 10 minutes writing out my list of whys, right? Why I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And one of my list of whys now is why my podcast is the best podcast in the men's podcasting space, and why I naturally attract more viewers to my show. It's not about me being arrogant and me thinking, I'm king shit for whatever, but it's more about getting in alignment with what value I'm actually bringing to people. And I can see it every day. I see guys in Beer Club tell me about how my episodes are helping them out. So I know it's true. So it's not bragging, it's fucking fact. Okay. It's fucking fact. The best goddamn podcaster in the business. Okay. Best professional podcaster in the men's podcast space. Engaging all senses. The more vivid your writing and visualization, the more powerful the impact on your subconscious, right? You want to make it as real as possible, as detailed as possible, so that you can actually picture this in your head as you're doing this stuff. Okay. You want to use sensory words like, that use sight, sound, touch, smell, taste, really, to make it come alive. Okay. You can combine techniques, right? So you might mix and match exercises to reinforce your goals from different angles. So try writing in the morning, and then going back and then out loud reading those things that you wrote in the morning out at night. Okay. So then you're basically incorporating the handwriting scripting exercise with the spoken scripting exercise when you do that. You want to stay emotionally engaged with it. So emotions amplify your results. So feel excited and grateful when scripting. That's why I say it's my favorite part of the day. I look forward to it. I get up in the morning and I'm tired, and I get up earlier now. I've been getting up like at 5:15 every morning now. And I normally don't like getting up, but I get up and I always it's like a rule of mine now. As soon as that alarm goes off at 5:15, I have multiple alarms, but 5:15 is you can't hit snooze anymore. So I turn the light on and I'm groggy, but then I start thinking about the scripting exercise. Like, okay, that's going to be fun. Like, that's really fun to sit there and live in my future that way. So I like doing it. I enjoy doing it. And that emotion of just enjoying the process helps me already be in the right vibration, or whatever you want to call it, the right emotion to have really good results with it. Cause then I really get into it. I enjoy doing it. Okay. It's not a chore for me. If you're looking at any of the stuff like a chore, you are in the wrong mindset for this, and you're not going to get good results. You're not, so you have to enjoy doing these types of exercises, get joy in just the process itself. And then as you're doing the process, really get into the emotion of like what it would be like already having that goal achieved, and you're going to get great results. Okay. And you want to think about how you feel once you've achieved the goal and channel that into the scripting. Okay. Bob Proctor says you've got to get emotionally involved with the goal. And then you want to track your progress. Okay. So keep a journal of changes in your mindset, emotions, and actions. You want to review your scripting entries weekly to see how far you've come. Okay. Go back and see if like you've achieved some of these goals. Now, if you're all scripting about nothing but long-term goals, it's going to be hard to see that on a weekly basis. But if you go and look at, every 6 months, go back and look through it, you'll start seeing real results have happened because of your scripting. I like having a goal board over here. And then as like when I've achieved a goal, it blows my mind. And it's a fun exercise to be able to, wipe off something. One of my clients, he really gets frustrated by the big picture stuff, right? He feels like he's got so much to do. Okay. Like we're supposed to work on our muscles, money, game, and frame in the space, right? Muscles, money, game, and frame. Well, like a lot of us, we don't get into the space until after we're 35 years old. Some of us don't get into it until we're in our 40s. Some guys not into their 50s. Brother Ed in the comments, he's in his 60s. He didn't start getting into this stuff, right? Like we're all at different stages in life and we didn't get the memo until now. Okay. My friend Laurent from the Dragon Ship, he talks about investing a lot. And he says, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. Okay. When's the next best time? Right now. You can't change the past. So being all upset that you didn't learn this stuff until now helps you in no way. It doesn't help you at all. So my client here, God bless him, he focuses on like, oh God, I got so much to catch up on because I spent my whole life doing blah, blah, blah. Right. And I tell him, I'm like, man, stop focusing on the big picture stuff because all you're doing is getting more depressed about it and you're not taking any action to fix it. I was like, break this stuff down into small, actionable chunks. Okay. Stuff that you can start crossing off. Right. And then keep a journal of it. Right. Keep a journal of like, I was able to do this and this today and whatever. Okay. And then because he has a hard time seeing the progress because he's too busy looking at the big picture, what you could do is just do the little stuff day by day and journal about it. I was able to do this today and I was able to do this. And it was really great that I was able to do this. And I feel really accomplished that I was able to do this, right? 6 months from now, you can go back and look at that journal and then see the big picture. Okay. You can see like, oh, fuck, I've actually done a lot of shit. I'm actually catching up. I'm actually making a lot of progress here. This is amazing. Okay. That's why journaling is helpful. It's helpful for that kind of stuff. It gives you a way to track results. All right. That's all I got. I do want to invite you guys to go back to last week's episode and check out those scripting exercises because we really go into depth on them and like how they're helpful and what you could do to really make it beneficial to you. A lot of people didn't tune into that episode. It was a very not well-viewed episode. It's really sad because it's probably one of the most helpful episodes you'll ever fucking find. But a lot of guys are turned off by the marketing. They don't like the woo-woo stuff. They don't like the spirituality concepts. They think it's shit crack. Okay, fine. It's NLP. It's frame. We're working on our mental frame. And we're doing that so we can achieve the goals that we want out of life. Right? It's not sexy. We're not talking about vaginas, but guess what? You can use this stuff to get all the vagina you want. All right? You can make getting vagina a goal. Man. Anyways, go tune into that. Red Tiger sent an $8 super chat. Woo-woo may be ending, but mindset building never stops. Curious to see the lineup changes. Yeah, so basically Mondays and Wednesdays are going to be basically red pill relationship type stuff. And then we're going to keep Frame Fridays. That's what we're going to do going forward. You are not a beer club brother, so I'm going to give you this one here.
I was just going to say it. This guy fucks. Am I right?
Yes, he definitely fucks. Oh, and guys, smash that like button. Okay. Smashing like is alpha. All right, guys, tune into the podcast Friday. We are going to finish going over Wraith's book for Frame Friday. We're wrapping that up. We're on chapter 10, which is living with your new frame. So definitely check that out. And then Monday's episode It's going to be a fun one because we're done with Book of Puck. So we're getting back to regularly scheduled antics, and we're going to talk about why you need to bang your girl in a pickup truck, okay? Or a car. If you don't have a pickup truck, it's fine. But it's good to have car sex every now and then. I'm going to give a whole bunch of reasons why, and how if you're in a long-term relationship or you're married, that kind of shit will keep that spark going long-term and keep things from getting boring. Ask me how I know. Okay. That's all we got, guys. Like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you for everyone that started off in the live chat. It was pretty quiet there for a while, but thank you for you guys coming in later. Thanks for the super chats, guys. I appreciate that. And follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. Get the ebook, She's Made You Weak. It explains the betatization process. Get my practical law of attraction course. It is about mindset at the end of the day. Okay. Whether you believe in spirituality stuff, if you're religious or not, whether you believe in the quantum theory shit or not, doesn't matter. Okay. It works. It works if you work it. So learn how to work it. This will give you actionable information that you can start using today to start achieving your goals. Get in the beer club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's the best damn men's group on the planet and probably the most accessible and affordable. And then if you guys are having problems in your relationships, you've been married for over 7 years, the spark is gone, and you're basically just living like roommates and you want to change that dynamic around, book a free call with me. Okay. We can fix that. Go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. All right. Hey, thanks, man. Okay. That's all. Oh, shit. Wait a second. You are a beer club brother. You're the other one that spells it with a Y in beer club, aren't you? Okay, come on now. we have another guy in beer. Okay, so you're a beer club guy. All right, fine. Okay. So hard to keep up with people when they don't use their real names. You know what I mean? But we'll bounce you. We'll move you up to the bouncing boobs video.
Thank you for the super chats. Boobies bouncing, can't stop that. From the east to the west, you are the best. Keep those chats coming in, let's do it all again.
God bless them. All right, we'll see you guys on Friday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.